It's their physical traits. Right, about her being image. What else can you discern? Wow, she's being very, very picky.
As always, she loves the pickiness.
Yeah. Um, Make sure to state this as a complete sentence. Look for unnecessary comment. Make sure to capitalize hotel. Proofread for missing apostrophe for noun. Take lessons from missing comment, introductory clause. Number three, I think some of these characters need to be replaced with apostrophe. Make sure you had a comma after the introductory clause here too. All right. Yeah, I mean she's being very, very, very particular. You see, I guess what I was looking at when we went through this is there's a rubric, and I figured you'd just get an 8 or a 9 or something and move along. Um, I don't know if you want us to change, but the other thing you could do is run these through Grammarly, and they will probably pick up almost all of these issues before you submit. That would be a good decision based on what I'm seeing here. So we can definitely fix this. What else did you want us to work on today?
I was wondering if we could also, I don't want to do any physical science today.
Okay.
We'll work on it the next time we meet up, which I think will be tomorrow. We'll
It's
just
actually
work on,
Thursday. We're on
yeah.
Thursday this week. We're
So,
still trying to get a standard schedule down. Um, so what else?
lesson 7 is the essay about my book. We can work on that as well.
Okay.
And that's it. We'll just fix those. I don't know why she likes being picky on a lot of these
Right.
things.
So what I was, figuring is you would get somewhere in here and we would just move along without, um, you know, moving along. So I just can't believe this, but that's okay. All right. So I just need a moment here to pull up the submission or grab a new, I guess I can copy and paste from what's here. All right. Yeah, so give me a moment here to do that. So this is fifth one. Is that what we said? Lesson 5. Okay. All right, so here we go. It says identify the character traits of Agatha. So why don't you do a quick internet search on character traits and see what kinds of things that come up when you look for character traits. And keep in mind, we think that she's kind of uh, image conscious. I mean, your instructor's right. Rich isn't a character trait, although it leads to some things potentially. So yeah, see if you can look up a couple of character traits from the internet, see if any of them fit kind of what you're reading here.
All right. I mean, there's not much. I mean, I'll say what I want to say later. Some character traits that the internet is showing me, like for example, some of them are like confident, ambitious, and creative,
So
basically.
these are the ones we're looking at are probably more negative, negative character traits.
All right, let me search up negative character traits. Dishonest, apathy, and shyness are some of them.
Yeah, I'm not seeing So arrogance, could be, um, so we could say, seems arrogant.
All
Arrogant
right.
is, possibly here because of the way she's dressed. She thinks she's better than everyone else. So that would be sort of a way to, um, weave something in here. While she seems rich, she isn't wearing the latest style for that suit, and her shoes have water stains, which is strange because if she is rich, she could have bought a new pair of the same type of shoes. Um, she seems very image conscious. She's not a natural redhead. Do you have a Grammarly account?
No.
I think it's free. Let me
Well, let
check.
me check as well.
I mean, it's kind of like the degree of the Grammarly. Like there's the free one that's good but not great. Um, okay, so so what I'm doing here is I'm gonna paste this text into a Grammarly account, and then all right, so they like they have I'll just snip this in here. I mean, they have found a number of ways to make this better. And so I mean, I think based on what I'm seeing with the instructor, you're going to want to get some help here, um, with something like this. Like the overall score of this is a 70, which I mean, that seems okay to me. Um, it would go up. Um, it's like it's not necessarily complicated. So I because it is awkward. I mean, this is not that's why we're having issues here. Your instructor wants it written at a higher level. Um, Without me completely rewriting it, it would not, but then it wouldn't be your own writing. So why don't you see if you can, I mean, I think it's free. Try for free.
I
I don't
think
know
you have
what,
to first
yeah,
make
I
an
thought
account, then download it.
I'm just using their web version and premium for individuals. I'm sure this costs, yeah, of course it costs something. Um, yeah, I mean, there's always something here. So, like, we have to decide how much effort we're going to put into this because you can see she keeps kicking it back. Um,
I think it's just very annoying. It's like that I understand it's she's picky, but it's not fun.
yeah, that's definitely pretty challenging. So, there's a quick way that this first sentence can be improved. Agatha seems arrogant, which doesn't really read well, but it says because her suit is made from, and then you can just say an expensive brand, Gucci, and like you would actually just that's it. You don't have to add any more than that. But that's
Okay.
not arrogant. Like that's really not arrogance. Um, like stuck up, and
Yeah,
I don't know if
stuck up.
that's the but that's not because of her. Like the clothing just adds to it. Like you're stuck up because of the way you present yourself. So this is where I don't know how much effort you want us to do to rewrite this. Now, let's just talk about number two. So we can maybe be more specific here. So for number two, we'll come back to number one in a moment. For number two, the instructor is saying, I gotta go find that. Proofread for two unnecessary pieces of punctuation. Um, which I guess are the commas. They probably are the commas. She was wearing an orange shirt. So I'm guessing that it is like not needed. And then this comma here over here is also not needed.
Okay.
So, but again, if we go to Grammarly, we're going to find that there's probably a number of changes that we could make. So I'll just kind of snip that in here. This was slightly higher score on Grammarly. You can see that. Um, so like that's what I'm saying. Like I think if you wanted to do this and I mean I've considered getting a Grammarly account, but
Okay.
it's up to you. Your teacher's going to continue to push back on this, and the work that we're doing together, we can't fix all these things. We have to write, and then I can get you to write, and then worry about this stuff later. So uh let me look at number uh for part two, number one. Where's part two? Is this part two? Part two, number one. Make sure to state this as a complete sentence. For number two, we said something about a hotel. Oh, that's down here. That's your part two. Okay, okay, okay. Now I get it. All right. For number two, proofread for two unnecessary pieces of punctuation. We did that. So my guess is she actually stopped grading it here and then went on to this part two. So let's look at what part two says. Make sure to state this as a complete sentence. Look for one unnecessary comma. Make sure to capitalize hotel. Okay. All right, so we'll capitalize hotel. And it's hotel here. And there's one unnecessary comma, which probably is the only one in there. And check the last sentence for a missing comma. When they're getting a tour around the place, right there, the chef named Dick wants to take Danny with him to Florida to get away from the cold weather. So there's the missing comma. And then for number three, with I think some of these characters need replaced with an apostrophe. I've only seen parts of the movie. After I finish reading the book, I'll watch the movie to compare the differences of what would happen. Okay. So maybe we just remove this and say after I finish reading the book, I'll watch the movie to compare the differences of what happens. Um, I've only seen after I finish reading the book, I'll watch the movie to compare between the two. So, like the better way to write this is say between the two, and then say I have only seen parts of the movie uh, in passing. Basically, that just means you haven't really sat down and watched it all. After I finish reading the book, I'll watch the movie to compare the two. I've only seen parts of the movie in passing. Okay. All right. So I think we can fix this up here. I know I've sort of like walked around. Let's read this. I don't know if you've read this in a while. Let's have you read it out loud, or if you got it on, or if you've got it on your side, just read it to yourself, whatever you would prefer. But let's read it one more time.
Okay, I'll read it to myself right now
Okay,
since I have it.
sure. All right, I'll be right back. All right, Ivana, have you had a chance to read it all?
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Okay.
All right, I read it.
Okay, so I read it again, and I just don't see that she is arrogant or stuck up. Maybe, right? Maybe. Um, you if I were talking to the teacher, I would say, well, there's not a lot here to know about her character traits. Um, 'Cause it doesn't, there's not a like a description of her. We don't hear her talking. Um, all we know for sure is that she claimed to have seen the victim
Right.
and she left the alley and called the police. So, I mean, geez, character traits. I mean, that's a lot to try to 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 do, but I think you could say for sure that she seems suspicious, but I don't know if that is a character trait. Um, so we got to be really careful here. We got to really like go for um and do kind of a search on like what are sort of suspicious character traits. And this is where you want to use the internet and look for sort of these things. We could also just go to a character trait list. They tend to be on the positive side though. So we want to be careful here that we're, not just focusing on positives. Um,
All
so
right. So you want me to,
dishonest. But I'm going to give you some here. So like dishonest um, is one, arrogant is one, prejudiced is one. Those sort of seem to fit here. Maybe anxious, avoidant, defensive. Do any of those feel like they represent Agatha?
maybe dishonest because she isn't being, I said maybe because like she's not, I don't, because like there are many signs that she was in the alley, but maybe like she's lying about like who actually did the murder.
All right, so let's list a few of them here. So let's say we think she's dishonest, possibly.
Yes.
Dishonest. Um, is she avoidant?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. How about defensive?
Hmm. No, because in the story she doesn't seem defensive, you know?
Okay. And let's just say and arrogant.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right. So we need to add a couple of sentences about why she seems dishonest. And it would start like this. She uh we have see this is one of the problems of dishonesty and arrogance. Like we got to fix this sentence. He demonstrates dishonesty by, and this is where you have to fill it in. What did she do that is dishonest, potentially dishonest?
I think she's being dishonest about like who the killer actually is, because she's just assuming that the guy in the orange shirt is a part of this gang. Like,
So could you add some sentences, write a
yeah.
sentence for that?
I just reread a little bit of the story. You know how it says that the victim had a scratch in his stomach? I don't think the guy would get I don't think the victim could easily get scratched if he was fighting with his alleged murderer. Like that in the stomach. He could have gotten scratched anywhere else, you know?
Right. But so notice that it also says that Agatha her jacket was tightly buttoned up. Maybe she was trying to cover something like blood,
Yeah.
maybe, or maybe she just wanted it buttoned up.
Right, here's what I have written so far. Is it in the chat?
Okay, that's good. We can just throw that in as is. All right. Um, then we can say Agatha seems arrogant, and all this other stuff. So we can fix. a few of these. Okay. So again, I think we're good on that. The next thing I saw that I didn't we didn't actually address here is we have to, she wants this in a full sentence. So could you write a full sentence answering what chapter are you on?
Yeah. Well, I'm no longer on The Shining chapter 10, so I
No,
think I'm gonna have to.
no, just rewrite it to say that I'm on chapter 10 in The Shining. I mean, that's you want to go back and answer it as if you were there.
All right, there we go.
And then books are they're really italicized, I believe. Um, anyway, so the next thing here is in number two here. There's a missing apostrophe for a possessive noun. Uh, uh, so I think it's right here, Jack job. I think that's it. I wonder if Grammarly would have gotten that. And again, I really would recommend using something like that. It's a good tool. Okay, so I feel like let me check one more time. I feel like that's everything. Make sure you add a comment to the introductory clause here too. Get that. Make sure you blah blah blah. Okay. I mean, I feel like this is good. So I believe we answered all of them. I've been looking over this list while you were writing. Uh, Are you okay with this as is now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've saved it. Let's talk about the we need to do a compare and contrast essay. Oh no, you have to do part one for part two. Okay. Oh boy. Right. Oh my gosh, teacher, something else. All right. So I'm gonna I'm gonna reshare here in a moment. Just had to get the assignment up. All right, let me share screen. Okay. So here we go. We have to do part one before we get approval of part two. And your um first part, first question here is to tell me the name of the book and the title of the movie. And I think they are the same,
Yeah,
but
they're both the same. It's The
okay.
Shining.
So give me a sentence that says they're the same.
All right. About like they're the okay. Should I just say The Shining and not say like by Stephen King or something like that?
Would include the I would include the author.
Okay. Okay, just type it in the chat.
So actually, the gotta be careful here. The book is by Stephen King, but the movie is not.
Oh yeah.
So we can maybe leave it like that. All right. I think it'll be easier to do three before we come back to two. Are you familiar with the kind of the styles of a compare and contrast essay?
In a way, yeah.
Okay. So there's two main styles. Uh, I'm trying to find a picture that summarizes this. Um, okay, here we go. This is what I was looking for. All right, so there's the block, okay, and then the point, my point. Um, so the so I think your generally your general thesis here is going to be like which is better and why. Like if you were in charge, what would be better for a person to read the book or the watch the movie?
Well,
And the movie is good.
they should read the book first before watching the movie.
So we got to be careful that we're not necessarily saying that. We're saying like which is better because the movie is based on the book. It's kind of like which was more complete.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you. I mean, have you had a chance to watch the movie?
Yeah, in a way. I think the book is more complete because the book gives you more knowledge and more
So
information.
what I heard is you maybe have not watched the movie, and you may not want to, but like I would really encourage you to read the movie before you.
No, I know what goes on in the movie. It from what I can conjure, I think the book gives more information, obviously, because the book came out first.
Sure. So some people though, they the how do I want to say this? So the thesis generally is going to be something like read the book, don't just watch the movie. That's kind of what your teacher is looking for here. Um, in terms of the structure, so um, usually the two ways to the block is like you talk everything about the book, then everything about the movie. Point by point is when you pick a point and then you talk about how the book deals with it and the movie deals with it. And then you repeat. Another point,
Okay.
book, movie, another point, book, movie. Which kind of feels like is a better way of organizing this for you. The block would be talking all about the book, then all about the movie.
think we should talk about the book first, then the movie.
Fair. All right. So that's fine. There's no right or wrong there. The thesis statement, um, if you do you have the ability to go back and look at, I hate even ask saying that, lesson 3 about what is required for a thesis statement?
The
There was those
lesson,
six, there was those 6 things that it required.
yeah, I can look back. Yeah, I can go back and look at it.
Okay, so if you're seeing my screen, we uh we see that the thesis statement is a sentence that identifies the purpose of the paper. It's an assertion and it takes a stand. So that's where you're maybe going to say the the book is better use of your time than watching the movie because something. And then it's narrow, it's not broad, it's specific. We're talking about the book and one main point. So sometimes it's hard to do that like right off the bat. I actually think it's a mistake to try to write the thesis first. Sorry, no, you can't see that now. Um, so in terms of the outline, you're going to have an introduction and you're going to have a subject 1, which is going to be which is the novel. And then you're going to have a bunch of points to make. So
Okay.
point 1, or what's something about the book that you really like? Point 2, point 3, and then subject 2 is going to be the movie. And then same thing, we have some points, some things that you like or didn't like about the movie. And then the conclusion. So, anything come to mind about the book or the movie that you want to write about?
Um, for the book, I liked the character development that went on.
Okay, so let's be more specific. Who are the main characters in the book?
Okay, the main characters, their names are Jack, Wendy, and Danny.
Okay. Now in the movie, I believe they switched to John, or is it Jack, or is it John? One of them is Jack, and then the other one is John.
No, I think there's a line in the movie that says here's Johnny and like I don't know why Jack said it at all. It's because he went insane, but his
Okay.
name's still Jack.
All right. So character development. Let's take them one at a time. What do you like about Jack's character development? He's the big one there. What's kind of the big thing with his character development?
I like at first how so he lost his job. He went to go apply to be a caretaker for a hotel. And at first he was a tempered guy. He had like a hard time controlling his anger. And during his time at the hotel, he was able to manage it, but near the end he went insane and just wanted to I don't know, he wanted to
So,
kill his
so
family basically.
you gotta be careful here because your character development is not the same as telling the story of what happened.
Yeah,
So character development are the characteristics of the individual.
yeah.
Like maybe go back to that character trait list
Okay.
and see which of those character traits he exemplifies that you could speak to.
Okay, it says there's a extroversion and introversion. Does that mean extrovert, introvert?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, because he's an introvert.
Okay.
Um, he's instead of saying insane, there's someone said, oh, you can. It says like possibly mad, like a madman,
We're looking for
because
character traits though. What are some character traits? I mean, is he ambitious? Is he
he's
loyal?
angry. He's an angry person.
Okay.
I would say he's cocky.
Okay.
He's
He's the
busy.
main he's the main character, so we should have the most from him. I believe. What about Wendy and Danny? What else? What kind of comes to mind with them?
About Danny?
Or yeah, or Wendy. Any character
Okay,
traits?
yeah, I can say for Wendy like a lot. She's anxious. She's usually afraid. She's kind.
Okay. All right. How about Danny?
He's childish because he's like 5 years old.
Okay, so he's immature. All right.
I would say he's like creative.
Okay. All right.
Trying to think of
So,
what else.
can you think of any examples of these? Yeah, that's really what we want next. 'Cause that will help to write the this part of the essay.
Okay. Well, for example, Jack likes to write books, so he would spend most of his time like in the hotel, like just writing a story.
Okay, so go ahead and put together a sentence that conveys that to me, please.
All right, here's what I wrote about him being an introvert.
So he would spend most time writing a book instead of spending time with his family. What's an example of how he got angry? Just give me a sentence there as well.
Okay. All right, here's what I wrote about when Jax got angry.
What work did he mess up?
His work when he was trying to write a book.
Like the papers or something?
Yeah, the papers.
All right, so we should be a little more specific there if we can. All right. So we're gonna stop here for this hour, but you can see where we're kind of going here. We're gonna need examples of these. You should also try to think about more big points that you want to make about the book. So character development's a good one. Um, Another one could be just the like, does it is it an easy like why is it an easy read or a hard read or like do you feel like you're immersed in it or not? Something like that.
If I think it's a hard read.
Okay. So that goes against the whole like it being that better to read the book versus watch the movie. So just keep that in mind. We'll address that. Okay, we're gonna take a short break, but I'll see you in about 10 minutes.
All right, see you in 10 minutes.
All right, bye now.